Magnus is the most fun to write. Like, you know, with kind of like party whenever he shows up. I think probably the hardest characters to write, certainly write their viewpoints and make them convince they're villains. I mean, they're, you know, you need somebody, you know, an opposing force, something for your heroes to strive against, but you don't want them to seem cartoony. You don't want that kind of villain who's like, I'm gonna, you know, put a laser beam on the moon and blow up the Earth. Also inconvenience me because I'm on the Earth and it's where I keep my stuff. Because that's not really compelling. So nobody is the villain of their own story. All villains have justification for the things that they do and a belief that they're in the right. So creating a villain who believes that they're right, really has that, you know, conviction, and has reasons that are even sympathetic for the bad things that they do is difficult, but very rewarding to do. I think each have so far.
Okay, so probably earlier while you were asking questions, I can kind of see or I think you're a cat lover. So is that kind of the reason why you brought Church and the Cat in the Infernal Devices and then made it come up in the Mortal Instruments series?
Yeah, I think so. Church is an homage to my friend, Polly Black, and her husband Theo's cat, Fizzgig. They had this cat, oh my god. Fizzgig was like the world's most angry cat, and super virgin. And while I was writing City of Bones, my boyfriend and I were house sitting for Holly while she was away on a book tour. And so we slept in her room, and every night we would go to sleep, and every night we would wake up with the cat having leaped on us and scratching us viciously with his claws. We tried locking him out and many other things, but it didn't work. So by the end of the week, you know, when Holly and Theo came home, we were both covered in scars. And I was like, your cat is like the meanest cat in the world. And he's so angry all the time. And they were like, well, you know, he thought that you were taking our places, you know, he was trying to get back at you. And so Church was sort of an homage to Fizzgig, the angriest cat in the world. And oddly, when I wrote him, oddly, people seemed to really like him, get attached to him. People were always asking me, you know, who's taking care of Church? Who's feeding him? I was like, I don't know, he's got to go. Spencer thinks, I'm sure he's fine. And I love the idea that he's like an immortal cat who has like all these magical secrets. He's been around for a long time, so that's why I brought him into the Infernal Devices. And I like the fact that he only likes Jim and bites everybody else. He only likes Theo and bites everybody else. Alright, shaking their books. So, how many more of the things do we have in the way?
A lot.
Okay, so, get together. I don't know if you have one question or many.
They're helping us. So
got it.
Okay, one of the things that I love about your books is how diverse all your characters are, like ethnically, and how they're not all blonde or how they're not all brunette. How do you decide what your characters are going to look like and what their personalities are going to be?
I realize it's sort of a part of the character creation, you know, as you're sort of sitting there thinking, like, what does this character like? What are their motivations? What's their childhood? What are the things that formed them? And one of those things is you think, you know, what is their ethnic background? How did that shape them? How did that make the person that they are? Making Jem half Chinese was, I mean, partly, I was writing in Victorian England, but I did not want to have an all-white cast, and I was trying to get out of that in some way that made sense, and making him half Chinese, what came from my reading about the period, and reading about England's interactions with China, and the amount of, and then there were actually a lot of in terms that there were a lot of intermarriages between English and Chinese, and there were a lot of Eurasian children, and what their experiences were like growing up in Victorian England, and how that would inform Jem's character, and so that, you know, interested me. Magnus is half Indonesian. That just came towards the fast up with, I was trying to come up with Magnus' character. I'd taken a trip to the Rijksmuseum in Amsterdam, and there were paintings, like a whole room of paintings of Dutch men, but Indonesia used to be the Dutch East Indies, was owned by Dutch, and it was paintings of Dutch men and their Indonesian wives and their half Indonesian children, and there were all these long stories about what it was like to up, hopefully, and bring in more diversity and bring in different sexual orientations as well. I definitely knew from the outset that I wanted to have gay characters and lesbian characters as well. So, I've just been happy that they have been, embraced by my readers.
What did Magnus do to get banned from Peru?
I always think it's funnier if you don't know, but I decided there are these things in Peru called the Nazca lines.
Gosh.
There are these huge sort of drawings in the ground. You can see them actually if you're flying over them, but not understanding, because they're so enormous. Like animals, spiders, shapes. It's really fascinating. Nobody knows why they're there. Nobody knows who put